Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And I'm welcome to new members who are just joining ITS America for the first time, and existing members who've been a part of our ITS America fold for some time, but really want to get a sense of what our priorities and activities are in the coming year. So happy to have you all with us today. Um, it is hopefully going to be a little bit of a snowy day in DC. We're expecting to get some snow this afternoon. And so we will get on right on with this webinar for those of you who might need to safely get on the road this afternoon. So I'm Laura Chace, President and CEO of ITS America. We can go ahead to the next slide. So we're going to start off today and talk about our priorities, how you can get involved in ITS America, the work that we're doing, and how you can really influence that work. So we've titled this presentation Investing with Confidence, because I think that's where we are in the ITS industry today and moving forward. We've built a really strong foundation over the past several years, and we're now at a point of being able to really do that investment with confidence in scaling ITS. Go ahead to the next slide. So I love this slide. To me, I am a child of the 80s, and you can see that the middle photo is from the 80s. So, we started out in the 1950s, really building the interstate highway system to connect our physical environment. And it really transformed at the time how we move people and goods. In the 1980s, as I mentioned, was really the onset of the internet. And that really transformed our digital environment and our digital world and connected people in different ways. And it was also transformational. Now, where we are today in 2025 is we're finally poised to actually merge those two innovations and create something much larger and much more substantial than either one of those first innovations. We are poised to multiply the benefits of both the physical and the digital system that we are building to deliver lasting transformation and meet our goals of safety and increased mobility for communities across the country. Go ahead to the next slide. So I've said this before, technology has really never been more relevant, I believe, than it is today. Of course, the pace of innovation has been faster than anything we've seen in decades. And ITS America is really helping the industry advance these innovations at scale with optimism and with confidence. And this means that we're helping provide clear direction on standards and regulation, that we're helping to provide the connections necessary for companies to provide feedback on products and services as they build them. We're investing in solutions that we know work, and then we're able to share successes and failures to learn from one another through use cases and make smarter, better investments. And success is not just in the concept alone of deploying technology, it's also in the execution. So our approach to ITS technologies has to be to serve our communities and make sure that we're actually solving their most pressing challenges with these technological solutions. And then finally, evolving in our approach. And by this, we really mean our approach to investing in technology. We believe we're at a watershed moment where we really need to advocate for sustainable funding that recognizes that technology helps us make smarter investments and leverage our existing dollars to go further. And that means rethinking how we invest in technology in a more holistic way throughout our transportation system, throughout our programs, and throughout our funding mechanisms. Go ahead to the next slide. And I apologize, my dog was barking in the background there. So the current state of ITS. So we have been building a strong foundation, as I mentioned at the beginning. And last year, we advanced some pretty significant goals for our members. Obviously, advancing V2X has been one of the strongest priorities of ITS America and remains so. And last year, we were successful in getting a US DOT deployment plan for V2X, and the FCC secured the second report and order, which provided regulatory certainty. We have been providing leadership and expertise on artificial intelligence, both throughout policy principles that were released last year and through a decoded guide on AI. We have been we're connecting the pieces of digital infrastructure. So these are all of these, the connective tissue, I like to call it, between modes, between jurisdictions, so that we can actually share the data that we have in the system to make safer mobility a reality, to make smarter investments, to improve the movement of freight, and to improve ultimately transportation for our communities. And then finally, investing in our workforce. So ensuring it's not just enough to say that we need to invest in these technologies, we really need to prepare our workforce and ensure that they understand what are these emerging technologies and how can I actually use them? How can I integrate them into my systems? And so from that point, we've actually created a introduction to transportation data course for our industry to really help people understand transportation data and how it's being used, and some of the challenges that come along with that. The next slide, please. So 2025. So a lot of these priorities continue in 2025, as you can imagine. But overall, I'd say what we're focused on is how do we continue the momentum and realize the promise of ITS? And that means it's not just one technology, right? That means actually creating a smart system, which requires advancing technology integration. So going past just adoption and truly integrating technology into our transportation system at a systems level. Investing in a technology inclusive infrastructure to make our limited dollars go further. Once again, really taking a comprehensive look at how we fund technology and incorporating that into our infrastructure and into our transportation system as we plan, as we construct and build, and as we operate and maintain the system. Developing a connected ecosystem using multiple ways to communicate and share data, which we know the ability to actually share data across jurisdictions, across modes, across users of a system is one of the ultimate keys to realizing the many benefits that we seek, particularly regarding safety. Adopting and operationalizing AI. AI has so many potential use cases, and many of you are using it right now in many different forms. But from the ability to extend the life of physical assets, to help with predictive maintenance, to make smarter investments, to help make better planning decisions, to help make transit more reliable, goods delivery more efficient. Enable faster emergency response, the list goes on. And so our goal in 2025 is to continue to help our members understand how to adopt and operationalize AI in their systems. And then finally, advancing data governance, privacy, and cybersecurity. So as we advance all of these innovations, we have to put more focus on secure systems, the protection of privacy and personal information, and robust data governance. Those are essential not only to our success as an industry, but to consumer adoption and acceptance of these technologies. And ultimately, we absolutely need to provide that confidence to consumers so that they will accept and adopt these technologies so that we can deliver the benefits that we want for safe, smart, connected mobility that supports everyone. And with that, I am happy to turn it over to Dorena Cousins, who is our Director of Membership, who's going to take you through some of the nitty-gritty of our membership benefits and how you can get engaged.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. As Laura mentioned, I am Dorena, and I am the membership director at ITS America. If you could go to the next slide, Victoria. Okay, so how do you take advantage of your member benefits that we have? First, let me say that as a member of ITSA, you and everyone at your organization have the opportunity to take advantage of all of the benefits. It is through member or an organizational based membership. And we also prorate dues, which means you are welcome to join at your convenience. If it's through your budget cycle, you could choose to join either the first or second quarter or whichever time throughout the year. So as a part of ITSA, you're part of an industry that is set in the industry agenda. And there are a few ways how you're able to do so. Coming off strong with or committees. So ITSA, we have standing committees and working groups as well as subcommittees. And you will hear more about that further on in today's presentation, where Bobby will come in and talk about the work that ITSA is doing with or committees. And it's essentially where members come together and they collaborate and work on policies that are saving lives on our roads. And yeah, it's a way to communicate and convene with other stakeholders. We also have our weekly policy updates, and that is a weekly policy call where our members join for 30 minutes and we ensure that our members are they understand what's going on in the industry. We've had members from USDOT to come on board and share information from the federal, what's coming out of the federal government. So it's a way for our members to stay updated and stay informed. We also have or national and international conferences, and that is our ITS America, our ITS Conference and Expo, and that is held throughout the US cities every third year. And then we have our global ITS World Congress, and that rotates throughout the globe or internationally, and every third year that comes to America, and we host that. We also have educational opportunities where our members can learn from their peers about development and implementation practices of new technologies and collaborate on efficient, safe technology deployment. And members also receive member rate for event registration. If you could go to the next slide, Victoria. Okay. You're also investing with confidence in technology, as Laura outlined earlier. You have the opportunity to communicate the value of ITS technology. And what are some of the things that we do here at ITSA is that we monitor trade press and we curate the latest news via or member newsletter or even our policy rundown that we share weekly. And I think you switched the slides on me, Victoria. Okay, you can stay there. Thank you. And we also amplify the work that our members are doing on our social media platform, also in our policy rundown or newsletters. And when you input, that essentially equals innovation for us. So ITSA, as for private sector members, we engage directly with the public agency, or rather, you get to engage with the public agencies as a private sector member of ITSA, and you get to learn about the problems that they're facing today, so you can best work together to develop solutions for tomorrow. Members have the opportunity to receive direct feedback from the public sectors to understand what their pain points are and how do you partner to ensure that you find the right solutions and engage for long-term success. We also have market information, and what that essentially means is ITS America members are leading the market in developing and deploying technology solutions. Our conferences, forums, webinars, and committees provide opportunities for our private sector members as well as our public sector members to better understand current and future market trends. Next slide. If you could go to the next slide, Victoria. Thank you. And with membership with ITSA, you are developing and accessing skilled talent. Last year, we launched the ITSA Academy, And you will learn more about this academy and what it entails and how you can also take advantage of this newly developed course by ITSA and learn about the trainings and how it's designed for if you're pretty new to the industry. It will help you to understand data within the industry and how it is used. We also have our ITSA Career Center, and that is where you have the opportunity to see what jobs are out there or even advertise jobs of your own to recruit the best talents that are in our industry. Like I said, a lot of these benefits that I have outlined, you will hear more about them throughout today's presentation. So Victoria, could you go to the next slide? And with that, I will turn things over to Rachel Rettberg, or Senior Vice President of Member Engagement and Operations.
Thank you, Dorina. As Dorina mentioned, I oversee our membership, communications, events, and operations teams here at ITS America. And what we're trying to do within this department is cohesively work together on how we present our benefits to our members, how we engage with our members through communications, through our events, in just a number of ways. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next slide, and we'll start to go through some marketing opportunities as well as some of our events that we have throughout the year. So ITS America member news promo, there are a few ways that we would love to communicate our members' news. That is one of our top priorities in the communications department. You can email newsletters, and we can push the things out through our Momentum newsletter. This is a monthly newsletter that's published and goes out to our members each month. We also have Smart Brief, which is managed externally, but that is going out daily to our membership and to those in the industry that sign up for those. Both of these can be signed up for on our website. So if you're interested and do not receive Smart Brief currently, I encourage you to go to the ITSA website and look in the communication section for Smart Brief to sign up. We also promote our members' news via social media. Highlighting our members' news on LinkedIn is one of our primary areas that we focus on, but we focus on all other platforms as well. There are a couple ways to share your news with us. First, you can send it to our email at comms@itsa.org, or send it to my colleague Josephine Mayer at her email address, which is here listed in this slide. Or you can also tag us on some of your social media posts and add us to your PR lists, and we're more than happy to start receiving those and share your news as it comes through. Next slide, please. The ITS America member corporate partnerships. We started this partnership program to help elevate members who wanted to look for more marketing opportunities or more exposure through our networks. We started this in 2024. We have 3 levels at different varying prices: the corporate partner, corporate collaborator, and corporate supporter. Each of these different areas offer unique opportunities for you to advance your goals and mission at your company. Varying from hosting a webinar series with ITS America to hosting in-person events such as forums or executive breakfasts, dinners, something that we aim to focus on encouraging your priorities, pushing your priorities forward that also align with ITS America's priorities. So if you're interested in more information and how to become a corporate partner or what these offers might include, please feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to provide you with more of those details. On the next slide, we're going to talk about the upcoming event we have, which is our ITS America Policy Summit. Our Policy Summit this year is going to be held March 26th through the 27th. It will be hosted at K&L Gates in Washington, D.C. For those of you who attended last year, it is the same location. We are happy to announce registration has opened for our members. You can find this on the itsa.org website with a link to registration. Tomorrow, we'll be announcing it to the broader public that registration is open for the Policy Summit. So I encourage those members who want to make sure they get a seat, because seating is limited, to go ahead and register now and sign up for your seat. We're going to be discussing a lot of Things from varying from AI to reauthorization to automated vehicles. So it will be a great conversation. And on the second day, we will have in-person committee meetings for our members. Next slide, please. The next thing I wanted to highlight, which I'm sure everyone is aware of, is our ITS World Congress that is going to be hosted August 24th through the 28th in Atlanta. Our theme this year is Deploying Today, Empowering Tomorrow, and we are excited to welcome everyone to the show this year. Next slide. We have a very robust schedule that we are looking at for the Congress week, with sessions starting on Sunday, going all the way through Thursday. We will have things such as our digital infrastructure workshop, our state DOT roundtable throughout the week, our gala that we'll be hosting, as well as opening, closing, and our plenaries that are going on. It is a very jam-packed week, Sunday through Thursday, but you can start to visit the ITS America events website and start to see what's going on. And March, we'll be announcing the full program, so you can stay tuned for more details on that. Next slide. Our conference program will cover 7 key topics that you can see on this slide, ranging from vehicle automation, multimodal integrated mobility, emerging technologies focusing on quantum, managing and utilizing data, and transportation systems, along with a number of things that you can see here. We'll be focusing on cybersecurity and data. We have had 313 sessions alone from the Americas region that were submitted this year, so we are very pleased with the number of submissions, but we definitely have a tough decision to make when it comes to making the program. So we're really excited to dive into these topics more in August. Next slide. Our exhibit floor, I am happy to announce, is 95% filled at this time. You'll see a list of companies, just an example of a wide range throughout our industry that will be exhibiting, along with a ton of other companies that are exhibiting outside of the US region, including our partners from ITS Asia Pacific and Ertico. So we're excited to see the show floor filling up. There is still time to reserve space if you haven't already done so. Next slide. Our World Congress sponsors are growing pretty much every week. This is a list of some of the key sponsors that we've had identified through the last couple of months. We're excited to have Arcadis, HNTB, Iteris, Atkins Relis, and a number of others join us for the show this year, and look forward to seeing all of the technologies and deployment and work that each of these companies are doing. If you have not signed up to sponsor and are interested, you can connect with us on details for that as well. Next slide. Our call for demonstrations is open right now. We are taking demonstrations through March 21st. We have a large demonstration space that is basically a freight area for the convention center. So we are not tight on space, and welcome anyone who is interested in demonstrating or showcasing their technology-based solutions. Next slide. Our technical tours, you'll see here, we have a number of tours we have secured / we are still exploring. We're excited to experience some of these, including the Curiosity Labs at Peachtree Corners, which has been in high demand and a number of our members have been asking about, along with the Porsche Experience Center and other tours such as the TMC. So we are excited to announce these around registration time, and space will be limited. So make sure you reserve a seat if you're interested in any of these tours. Next slide. I did want to highlight for everyone this year, we are having our World Congress Gala at the Georgia Aquarium. I've heard is a very lovely aquarium with 10 million gallons of water and thousands of marine animals. The event will be held right next to the beluga whales, which is nice. But not only that, our attendees will be able to experience the opportunity of walking through the aquarium prior to the dinner portion. Next slide. So that is what I have on World Congress. There's actually a lot more that we didn't cover, but if you're interested in looking at the website at itsamericaevents.org to see or .com to see what we have going on, I encourage you to do so. If you have any specific questions about engaging or just getting involved, you can reach out to myself or Jamie McCauley, my partner at RX Global. Next slide. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Bobby McCurdy, our Vice President for Policy and Advocacy, to go over our policy work along with our standing committees.
Thank you, Rachel. Great to be with everybody today. Bobby McCurdy, ITS America's Policy and Advocacy Vice President, as Rachel mentioned. Next slide, please. I'm here to talk to you about some of the ways that our policy team is working with our members to help deliver on our shared priorities here in Washington. I've listed 4 bullets that I would like to go through in terms of an overall view of some of the priorities of what our team is working on with you here in our engagement with our federal partners. First is helping our members engage with the administration. As you all know, it's been a quick moving news cycle here in Washington over the course of the last couple of weeks. As is the case in any transition, but particularly the case now, it is important to stay up to date on what is transpiring with Washington in terms of executive orders, funding opportunities, federal appointments. These are all things that ITS America provides to our members in every Friday on our policy rundown newsletter and our Friday member update call that Tarina mentioned earlier. If you are not on that list already, I'd encourage you to join and make sure you're getting those correspondence, because we will keep you up to date on things like the funding freeze that rocked Washington a few weeks back, or the administration's approach to electrification initiatives, for example. These are things that are going to continue to develop. The transition is not nearly complete, so we will continue to be looking at, for example, who is tapped to helm at NHTSA or FHWA, positions that are very important to our shared goals of deploying transportation technologies to save lives and have a more efficient transportation system. So make sure that you're interfacing with these opportunities, because we want to make sure this information is getting to you. Secondly, one of the most important opportunities that our policy team is focused on with your help is preparing for the surface transportation reauthorization in Congress in 2026. But although the vote is going to be taking place in 2026, Congress needs to get the proposals very soon. So we've been working over the course of the last year and a quarter on reauthorization proposals that we will be delivering to Congress around 3 primary topics: digital infrastructure, eligibility and inclusion in planning processes at the federal and state level, the technology funding, secure, stable, and sizable funding for transportation technology deployment, and tweaks to the way that we approach procurement to make it easier for states and localities to procure transportation technologies as part of their transportation projects under the ethos of a outcomes-based procurement and deployment that we are going to be helping our communities be able to use whatever technology solution or approach is best able to solve their particular transportation challenges. This is building on a lot of work that we've done in 2024 that will be continuing into 2025 around some key areas, including digital infrastructure. ITS America is close at work with USDOT in the formation of their National Digital Infrastructure Plan, just like we were contributors to USDOT's National V2X deployment plan that was successfully implemented in 2024. Be on the lookout for continued effort on the digital infrastructure front in 2025, which is getting direct support from ITS America committees. And then as well, artificial intelligence. ITS America has been a thought leader in the space in the intersection of artificial intelligence and transportation. Our president and CEO, Laura Chace, was a witness for a House Transportation Infrastructure Committee roundtable on this subject. We're continuing to put out information and deliverables on this subject, which I'll highlight in some of the committee overview that I'll be giving in a few minutes. But these topics are going to be critically important, as well as these other 2 that I wanted to flag as well. First, and I saw a question about this in the chat, so glad that we get to talk about this, delivering updated policy on a federal automated vehicle framework. This is something that has gotten an enormous amount of traction recently in Washington. And while the issue of a federal framework for automated vehicles seems to have stalled over the course of the last couple of years, there's a renewed interest in what we can accomplish at the federal level to give more guidance and more federal support for states, localities, and technology companies in the deployment and use of automated vehicles on American roads. So our automated vehicle standing committee is working throughout 2025 to come up with some robust policies related to a federal framework for automated vehicles. What do our members look to see in that federal framework? And I think that conversation could be particularly interesting given that the makeup of ITS America's membership. We have various perspectives at the table. So the policy that comes out of the conversations with our states, our cities, our technology companies, our research institutions, our automakers is going to be a important contribution to the conversation around what we can achieve with a federal automated vehicle framework. As well as there's work that being done as we speak on consumer data privacy. This is a topic that's coming up in basically all of our conversations on the Hill. How are our members and how are we as an industry working to maintain the security and privacy of consumers' data? There is a privacy task force that is working on best practices around consumer data privacy, as well as will likely be considering soon some privacy policy as well to present to Congress as to what we will be looking for in a broader national data privacy framework. So those are some of the highest level initiatives that are taking place within the policy wing of ITS America, but there is a plethora of deliverables that I'm going to go down a list of momentarily that we would love your help with and that we really need your leadership on to be able to make sure that the deliverables that our committees are creating and sharing are as strong as possible. Next slide, please. One of the things that we are always looking to supplement is ITS America's use case library. This is a really foundational document in our conversations with the Hill and with federal regulators. It is a library of proven transportation technology examples that we can look at and say, this technology was deployed and often in collaboration with the public and private sectors, and this was the result that we were able to see from that deployment, quantifiable results. And we have over 60 in this library. We will be looking to expand this over the course of the next couple of months with a targeted third volume release of our use case library in June. So I encourage you, if you haven't taken a look at this use case library yet, to please go ahead and do so, first of all. And secondly, if you haven't contributed to this use case library, or you have and you have a different use case that you'd like to present as an option to include in this library, we would love to see it. Next slide, please. These are some examples of use cases that are currently in the library in case you are not yet familiar with the work that's being done in this library. As we can see, analyzing crash data using AI and digital twins, safer highways with variable speed limits, optimizing bus services with AI. The list goes on, and if you are looking to be able to make the case as to what a particular technology is going to be able to accomplish, it's great to be able to have examples of how it's been done successfully. So take a look at this, and more importantly, contribute to this document. We would love to hear what you've been successfully implementing in your community. Next slide, please. Finally, I'd like to highlight some of the committees that are involved we are running at ITS America, because I believe that the ITS America policy committees are some of the most significant ways in which we interface with our members and create deliverables of relevance and of importance to the Washington transportation community. So we have 4 standing committees: automated vehicles, emerging technologies, digital infrastructure, and V2X and connected transportation. We also have a number of communities of practice. And I just, to give folks on this call a sense of what are some of the things that each of these committees are working on, I will say that each committee and each working group under the committees are tasked with creating substantive deliverables that are going to be able to help move the needle towards deployment here in Washington and throughout the United States. So each working group is going to be able to come up with something that we think is going to be helpful for that conversation, including AV Freight last year came out with some great recommendations to NHTSA about NHTSA's role with supporting automated vehicle freight, and then we'll be more broadly supporting the effort that I mentioned a few slides ago related to the automated vehicles committee's robust conversation around what we are looking for in a federal framework for automated vehicles. In terms of emerging technologies, there's a number of really interesting areas that they're looking at. Advanced integration plans for emerging technologies, a multimodal integration plan, a digital twinning decoded document, and an effort to highlight leading drone use cases. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved in the Emerging Technologies Committee, particularly if you can see here the working groups that are available. If you're involved in any of those spaces, we would love your support and your input on the conversations that are taking place in each of those working groups. The Digital Infrastructure Working Group or Committee is where we are doing a lot of our AI work and getting ready for our contributions to the reauthorization process, as well as working on that shared data layer working group, which will contribute so heavily to the work that USDOT is doing around creating a national strategy for digital infrastructure. The Artificial Intelligence and Digital Infrastructure Committee is on the leading edge of what we are talking about in the policy circles here in Washington on artificial intelligence and transportation. They're going to be working on a AI data governance resources and a use case repository of leading AI use cases that's going to be able to supplement to our library. And then, like I mentioned, the IIJA and Digital Infrastructure Policy Working Group is really the workhorse for the reauthorization policies, which we are going to be submitting to Congress over the course of this quarter and next quarter. So join that working group to help put the finishing touches on that policy. And then in the second half of the year, it's going to be focused on messaging and advocating for those policies for a successful implementation of our reauthorization priorities in the reauthorization process. And then finally, I will say in the VITA-X and Connected Transportation work committee, there is a significant amount of work being done within the Future of 5.9 committee, which is working on a myth versus fact sheet, an updated myth versus fact sheet for what can be accomplished in the 5.9 gigahertz band, as well as some examining of VITA-X and in cybersecurity and VITA-X and privacy. And then as well, the Beyond 5.9 VITA-X working group, which is deploying and leveraging networked VITA-X expanded use cases and putting together an application mapping exercise inclusive of both networked and direct VITA-X. So I know there's a lot of different work going on each of these different committees. If any of what I said there interests you, please take a look. We also have some significant communities of practice around topics like cybersecurity and workforce that we don't have really as much time to get into today, but take a look. Those are communities of practice that really cut through all of our different issue areas with priorities that really resonate no matter what we're doing. Again, there's some great work being done in the workforce space and cybersecurity as well that I encourage you to get involved with. And with that, I think that I've used the balance of my time, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about some of the ways that we are working through the policy team to deliver ITS America member priorities here in Washington, D.C. And then it is my pleasure to introduce ITS America's Senior VP for our programs, technical programs, and strategic partnerships, Carlos Alban.
Great. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that. And hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. As Bobby mentioned, my name is Carlos Alban, and I am the Senior Vice President for Technical Programs and Strategic Partnerships here at ITS America. I just wanted to take a few minutes to provide an overview of some of the work that we're doing here within the Technical Programs Department. As some of you may be aware, we have a very long-standing partnership with the U.S. Department of Transportation, where we provide research and stakeholder support services to the Intelligent Transportation Systems Joint Program Office. Our work really focuses on educating and expanding awareness of ITS. And some of the ways we accomplish this is by hosting and facilitating information webinars focused on highlighting emerging technologies and innovative mobility solutions. We also continue to facilitate the delivery of technical trainings to our state chapters across the country through our partnership with the USDOT's ITS Professional Capacity Building Program. So many of you, I'm sure, if you belong to a state chapter, have had the opportunity to participate in one of these trainings, whether that was virtual during the 2020 to 2021 era, or even previous to that. And since then, we've actually gone back to a lot of in-person deliveries, which have been pretty well received. So last year, USDOT launched a new course, a foundational V2X training, which was rather popular amongst our state chapters and their members. We hosted the course for the first time at our annual conference in April. And I think throughout the year, we hosted a total of maybe 13 or 14 trainings in partnership with USDOT across the country. We also have some other topics available this year, including a systems engineering course, a crowdsourcing for advancing operations course, and of course, we continue to offer another connected and automated vehicle training focused on what is called Cave in a Box, which is another partnership that we have. We're happy to have our colleagues from Leidos and be able to work with them on delivering and facilitating the delivery of that training. And if you want more information about maybe some of the training topics that we have available, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I know I've worked with several of the state chapters over the years, and we hope to continue to grow the program a little bit more and include more topics for our state chapters and their members. So we'll probably be doing some follow-up over the next week or so, maybe by the end of February, to solicit input on topics that might be of interest to you if you are heavily involved with the activities of your regional state chapter. In addition to sort of those stakeholder engagement focus activities, we are also working with USDOT right now to focus on deployment materials, the development of deployment materials for ITS professionals. So we are assisting state and local agencies currently through the development of materials and products for the V2X deployment community. That includes procedural and practical how-to information and resources for deploying interoperable connectivity technologies. So the goal is to have those products available, publicly available, sometime between the spring and summer of this year. And once those are available, we will obviously be amplifying that and reaching out to our member base to inform you of those resources that have been developed. There's also a plan, hopefully, to be able to have a couple of webinars that would help us sort of walk through some of the products that have been developed and then provide additional information, perhaps highlighting some of the relevant use cases or deployments around the country that are focused on V2X. In addition to the work that we do with the ITS Joint Program Office, we actually last year were able to form new partnerships specifically with FTA and also OSTR. First, I'll talk a little bit about the partnership that we have with FTA. We're actually leading an effort to develop a National Transit Operations and Emerging Data Interoperability Roadmap for FTA. Under this project, we are considering we're doing a series of stakeholder engagement activities, outreach, and knowledge transfer. This will include, by way of peer exchanges, conducting some industry surveys, and stakeholder interviews to develop an industry-driven roadmap. This roadmap will be developed around transit data interoperability, and the focus areas are going to be determined by the transit industry, so essentially the stakeholders that we are engaging with. And also will be grounded in the use cases that address transit rider needs, from trip planning to travel times to fare payment to public safety. So this project has essentially 3 goals to achieve by September of 2026. One is to conduct a study and develop a roadmap of transit data interoperability. The second is to assess federal governance options that support key data specifications. And the third is to identify areas of need for data interoperability. So again, that is also an opportunity for you to be involved. If that is an area that you are interested in, I would say once we get into the cadence of hosting these peer exchanges and hosting some of these engagement activities, you are always welcome to reach out to us, the programs team. Our information is up on the website, and we're happy to talk to you more about the project or ways to be engaged in some of these discussions. The other project I wanted to highlight that I know Bobby mentioned briefly because it's very aligned with some of the work of our committees is the collaboration that we are currently undergoing with the USDOT's Office of the Assistant Secretary for Research and Technology. And that effort is focused on developing a national transportation digital infrastructure strategy that incorporates and builds on existing public and private sector efforts, spans all modes of transportation, and provides for integration of new and novel technologies. So similar, we are hopeful that we'll be able to do some more further stakeholder engagement over the next few months. So that is also an opportunity for you to become involved in and sort of lend your unique perspective to that effort. One final thing I wanted to mention beyond the work that we're doing sort of on the project side, one new area that ITS America has been involved in over the past year includes supporting several federally funded grants. So we are actually named a partner on 4 federal grants awarded in 2024 aimed at advancing the deployment of V2X technologies. These grants include a SMART grant with the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and all 3 V2X Accelerator grants with Maricopa County DOT, Texas A&M Transportation Institute, and Utah DOT. So our role will be to support these grants by conducting outreach and leading a variety of stakeholder engagement activities aimed at developing best practices and sharing lessons learned from V2X deployers. We are also selected as one of 3 national capacity building teams supporting USDOT's Thriving Communities program. So the team, which is led by the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, also known as COMTO, supports 16 communities across the country. And through this effort, we are helping communities achieve their unique and interrelated transportation, housing, economic, and community development goals. ITS America, along with the team, will be facilitating peer network and knowledge sharing across communities, sharing similar challenges, and identifying funding opportunities via grants and other philanthropic opportunities that these communities will be eligible to apply for. So that is something that we're really happy to be part of on the grant side. If we go to the next slide, I just wanted to briefly touch upon, which has already been mentioned, but we also have, of course, our ITS America Academy. So in October of last year, we launched our academy with the goal of providing transportation professionals with an actionable, cohesive, and applicable skill set, which will be crucial to staying ahead of the fast-changing industry that we all work in. The first course is an Introduction to Transportation Data course, which is targeted towards infrastructure owner-operator staff working in a variety of roles across their organizations, recent graduates, and new hires. So this Intro to Transportation Data course introduces participants to the world of ITS and highlights key data management challenges, as well as provides baseline literacy about transportation data and its use cases to encourage a common language to which folks can discuss these concepts with a little bit more background. So one of the things I did want to mention is we recently have had conversations about extending some discount rates for students and young professionals in transportation. I know I participated recently in a state chapter council call in January where I had mentioned this, but if anybody is interested in seeking out additional information about the Training Academy, how it works, how you can sign up for the course, and maybe some of the available discounts, I would highly encourage you to reach out to our team. I know my colleagues, Josephine Mayer and Andrew Barberry, are sort of leading that effort. I can put their information in the chat and their contact information as well. But definitely, if anybody is willing to help us amplify the fact that this opportunity exists, we would also love to have you help us with that. And I think that is really all I had from my end. I will now turn it over to my colleague Dorina to help us with any Q&A.
Sure. Thank you so much, Carlos. I've already noticed that a lot of the questions that have been posted, they've been answered, but just to provide a little bit more details on committees and working groups, it is unlimited in terms of how many people from your organization can join. It's more of a matter of your capacity and your availability to join working groups, committees, and community of practices. If you have any further questions on that, you could always email membership@itsa.org. and we could get your account fully set up, and then you have the opportunity to log into your My ITSA portal to select the committees that you'd like to join. So now that you've heard all of the work that ITSA is doing, how we're collaborating with our members, our stakeholders, and partners, and the road that we have ahead for 2025, and how you can invest with confidence, and how you can help to set the industry agenda. If you have further questions, like I said, you could always email membership@itsa.org. We're happy to have new members come on board, and we're hoping to get more members to come in and collaborate and help to move the industry forward. And if there are no more questions, which, let's see, I don't think we have any more questions right now. Yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining us today. And feel free to reach out with any further questions that you may have. So thanks again, everyone, for joining, and take care.